Today, we're going to dive into the powerful and, let's be honest, often overlooked connection between the tiniest things you eat and how you think, feel, and function every single day. You know those days, or maybe even weeks, where you just feel off? Your focus is shot, you're a bit on edge, or your mood is just in a slump, and you really can't put your finger on why? Well, what if the answer isn't some big, complicated problem? What if it's something incredibly small? We're talking about vitamins and minerals, the micronutrients that are literally running the entire operating system of your brain. So stick around, because in the next few minutes, we're going to break down exactly how these micronutrients are the essential building blocks, the power source, and even the defense force for your brain. All right, first things first, we need to really appreciate just how demanding our brains are. I mean, it is the most complex organ we have, and boy, does it have a massive appetite. Get this. Your brain is only about 2% of your body weight, but it torches through a staggering 20% of your daily energy. It is an absolute energy hog, running 24/7 even when you're fast asleep. And why is it so hungry? Well, think of it like a high-performance engine. It's constantly making new neurotransmitters, your mood molecules, and its high metabolism produces a ton of exhaust, which creates a huge demand for antioxidants to clean up the mess. Plus, the blood-brain barrier acts like a VIP bouncer, only letting specific nutrients it needs get through. Without that constant supply, the whole engine just starts to sputter. So, okay, if the brain is this super-powered engine, what's it actually building? Well, it's building your mood, moment by moment, using tiny chemical messengers. We call these messengers neurotransmitters. You've heard of them. Serotonin, dopamine, they're responsible for feelings of happiness, motivation, and focus. But here's the crucial point. Your brain can't just whip them up out of thin air. It needs specific raw materials. Just take a look at the assembly line for serotonin here. It starts with an amino acid from your food called tryptophan. But to get from there to the finish line, that feeling of well-being, it needs a whole crew of helpers. In science, we call them cofactors. And who are these key workers on the line? They're nutrients, vitamin B6, iron, folate, and vitamin D. If any one of them doesn't show up for their shift, the entire assembly line can grind to a halt. And the result? You guessed it, potentially lower serotonin, which can play a big role in low mood and anxiety. And guess what? It's the exact same story for dopamine. That's the molecule of drive, reward, and focus. Anytime you're chasing a goal or even just savoring a good cup of coffee, dopamine is in the driver's seat. And its assembly line is just as picky. It absolutely requires iron, vitamin C, copper, and a whole team of B vitamins to work right. A bottleneck in this pathway, say from a nutrient shortage, can directly impact your ability to feel motivated and engaged with your life. Okay, so we've covered the building blocks, but what about the energy to run the whole factory and the crew to keep everything in good repair? That brings us to power and maintenance. Every single thought, every memory, every action you take is powered by these tiny generators in your cells called mitochondria. They take the food you eat and turn it into energy. You can see the process in the background, the Krebs cycle. Looks crazy, right? Don't worry, you don't need to memorize it. Just appreciate how complex it is. The beautiful thing is, we can simplify that entire complex diagram down to the essential workers. To keep your brain's power plants humming, you need a full crew of B vitamins, CoQ10, magnesium, iron, and copper. Any shortage here, and your brain's energy production just tanks. That's where that feeling of fatigue and brain fog can come from. Now let's talk maintenance. There's a process called methylation happening billions of times a second in your body. The easiest way to think of it is as your brain's daily tune-up crew. It's absolutely critical for making those neurotransmitters we just talked about, and even for repairing your DNA. When this process gets sluggish, it's a classic recipe for brain fog. This cycle you see here is the engine that drives that whole tune-up process. And yeah, it looks complicated, but look right at the heart of it. You'll find two star players, folate, which is vitamin B9, and vitamin B12. Without them, the entire maintenance system can break down, leaving your brain pretty vulnerable. Okay, so we've got a brain that's powered up and well-maintained, but it's also constantly under attack. And this brings us to its internal defense force. There's this constant battle going on called oxidative stress. On one side, you have the attackers. We call them free radicals. They're unstable molecules that just ricochet around, causing damage. And on the other side, you've got the defenders, antioxidants, the heroes that swoop in and neutralize the attackers.
So really, this whole battle just comes down to balance. Your mental health really depends on your antioxidant defenders staying one step ahead of those free radical attackers.
And what's so cool is that your defense force is organized just like an army. At the bottom, you've got the foot soldiers. These are the vitamins and minerals you get from food. But at the top, you've got your body's own master antioxidants, the generals that can take out thousands of free radicals at a time. And the five-star general of this whole army is a molecule called glutathione. It is, without a doubt, the brain's most important protector. But here's the catch. Even a general needs a solid support team. To make and recycle glutathione, your brain absolutely has to have minerals like selenium, zinc, and manganese. All right, we've gone through a ton of the what and the why. Now for the most important part, the how. How can you actually use all this knowledge to fuel your brain for resilience? Your first and most powerful strategy is always going to be your diet. Every single micronutrient we've talked about, the B vitamins, the minerals, the antioxidants, they're all packed into whole foods. Seriously, loading your plate with colorful veggies, leafy greens, nuts, and quality protein is absolutely non-negotiable for building a resilient brain. But what about supplements, I know you're wondering? They can be incredibly powerful tools, but they need to be used strategically. You typically only consider them if symptoms are really severe, if you have known genetic factors that mess with nutrient processing, if lab tests actually confirm you're low, or if your diet is restricted. It's all about precision, not guesswork. So as we wrap things up here, I want to leave you with this question to think about. This isn't about doing a total overhaul overnight. It's about small, consistent steps. Knowing what you know now about the building blocks, the power plants, and the defense force inside your own head, what's one small thing you can do today to give your brain what it truly needs to thrive?